Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today we're going to start the build and play guides on the Japanese destroyers. Particularly this week, we're going to start with the torpedo boat line, the top line. We will do the next line right after that, and they'll be all in a playlist together. So as we start out this, one thing I want to say is I will put the General Commander in here for the first video. If you do not have if you're just using a generic commander, a toggle here, you're going to want to use Burn It Down XXL. Look at me now to get detectability down and back in stock and reaching out XXL. Now, we're going to start with the Isokaze. And I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. For Isukaze, here you can see we are using Razu Tanaka. This is the commander I'm going to use for all of these. So it does have a skin on it, so keep that in mind. And with all of this line, we will be using Eric Bay and Jersey Swirsky to get the detectability down. Contact is imminent for our skills with Look at Me Now. Do not take Fragile Threat. It is not worth the trade of losing 10% of your hit points in that scenario. I've never really found it useful, particularly at low levels where it doesn't really do much of anything. So, and then Perceptive. Some people will not want to take this, but knowing where the closest person is to you is absolutely helpful in every scenario. In my opinion, there is no reason to play any destroyer without having Perceptive or Twist and Track on. Maybe Friesland. That's the only thing you ship in the game, destroyer in the game I could even think of where you may want to do a different build on it. Outside of that, always take this skill, as this is going to be very important to have. And then smoke on the water. The Japanese torpedo boats do have smoke that does help you. And for your legendary perk, you could do give me speed or unstoppable. I actually prefer unstoppable, but I think in the videos I had give me speed, which is also not a bad one as well. But keep that in mind. You may want unstoppable. For now, for the build on Isukaze, we are doing main battery mod 1. That's to get the guns to turn a little bit quicker in case you are in a gunfight and you can kind of twist and shuffle around and have your guns on target a lot. For the perks in order that I would take them, and this is the way I would take them on this ship. I did go through and check these too. You want to take your firing range increase first because the guns are about useless without it. The torpedo upgrade and then the hull upgrade. That's the order I would do them in. And for the loadout, you do get 2 smokes and an engine boost. Now we are getting an extra one because of our legendary skill. And for survivability, you don't have a whole lot of health and you don't have a lot of guns. That doesn't mean you don't have either, though, and you can shoot your guns. That's one thing in Japanese torpedo boats. The number one problem I see is people not shooting their guns. These have guns, and sometimes they're pretty usable. In fact, in our match that you're gonna see me use my guns quite a bit. Torpedoes, this thing has really good torpedoes for the tier. 7 kilometers, they reload pretty quick and they hit like a truck for this tier. Absolutely. 11,000 damage at this tier is crazy. AA defense, you don't have any. Yeah. Yeah, guy on a sling with a slingshot chucking rocks out the back is what you have. That's what it really is. And in fact, because this might be your first introduction to destroyers, a lot of times I turn my AA off completely, um, particularly when you get into the higher tiers because carriers can use it to spot you. You might not be seen, but they can see the AA coming out of your ship. in a lot of destroyers. So unless you're already spotted, I have mine turned off a lot of times. For your maneuverability, this thing is pretty solid for a destroyer. Turns okay. Definitely decent speed for the tier and really good rudder shift. Concealment 4.5. You now this one varies a lot on your commander, but you can get really close to people without them seeing. For your armor, you don't have any. There's not much there. I think it's 10 or 14 basically everywhere for the most part. So just you're in a destroyer. You don't want to get shot at too much, obviously, but um, you can. Now, one bonus to this thing is there isn't a whole lot of ship out of water. This can be kind of hard and annoying to hit. So you do have that going for you. As we go ahead and start this match and check who we're up against, I do want to say it is disclaimer time. This is a beginner's guide to help out people just learning this ship or learning the game in general. This is not for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything. There is also multiple ways to build and play ships, so opinions will vary. I am just a above average player. I don't claim to be the best player in the world. I just am a pretty darn good player. So I do make mistakes. You're going to see some in this match. And also, you didn't come to this video to see how to pronounce names, as I am very terrible at slaughtering other beautiful languages. It's almost an art form, so keep that in mind when you're watching this, guys. With that out of the way, you can see under the battle starts there, that little shaded area lets me know where is the closest person near to me. And you can see I am located, which means somebody else has that perk, which generally means that they're either a good player or an aggressive player. So you want to be a little bit careful when you do get located if you're in a torpedo boat. Now, because these are torpedo based, you for the most part are going to want to sneak around and send torpedoes at people. That doesn't mean, however, that you don't have guns, and I see a lot of people make this mistake on Japanese boats. As you can see, I am going to come in here a little bit careful at the beginning, just because I am located, and we're going to send our torpedoes since they reload so quick and they're good. We're going to send a set over there to there just in case somebody's trying to go through there. Now I see the V-17. I'm looking. You'll see me a lot of times put out torpedoes whenever I see a smoke cloud. That's because a lot of people like to go in and hide in the smoke cloud. Remember, I sent them out there for that smoke cloud because it's going to come back in a second. So right now, I'm not detected, but I am now. And you can see we have that guy behind me. I'm going to lay out smoke for the cruiser that's behind me. And he does not move forward. So that's when I decide, well, I'll use my smoke and I'll start shooting. You have guns on this ship, and they can be useful as we send out a couple more torpedoes. That white line will help you kind of determine where to throw them out. But you can see I hit that Phoenix in that smoke because he was sitting in that smoke with them torpedoes. So again, knowing where to place torpedoes is a big thing. And we're going to send out some more, and we're going to be careful of those coming at us here as we have backed off to Clemson, just shooting a little bit. Now, at Tier 3, these are just going to be chaos match. Everybody's going to be running around shooting like crazy. Now, we have a cruiser charging, and the last thing you want to do is get into when you're in a destroyer, you don't really want to get into a shooting battle. As you see, we send out torps because it looks like he was going to hit the island. I don't know if you guys seen that, but it looked like he was going to hit the island, so I send out torps right at the edge of the island. But you really don't want to get into a gun battle with a cruiser as a destroyer, particularly a torpedo boat, a Japanese torpedo boat. And you see he did hit the island, and our torps are on track right there. At low tiers, you're going to see a lot of people run into the island. You'll even see it at high tiers. But you can see we did take him out. And now we're going to start shooting. I know, it's crazy, right? No, we're going to start shooting. We don't want them to get the cap points. Now, Japanese destroyers, you're not going to hit a whole lot with them, but it's the thought that counts, right? So we're going to go ahead. We do get one shell to hit, or two shells to hit. And now we have this battleship charging. You see, I've sent out torps to where I thought he was. Now that, like I said, that white line with the torps will help predict where they are, but I don't very often always use that. A lot of times I'll use it to see what direction a person is going more than anything, but we're going to send torps on the Corvair, and we're going to try to actually get a little bit farther back. We're going to let our guns, there's a lot of people shooting at us as we get the Corvair to hit. And again, we're going to go ahead and throw some more torps at them, because a lot of times at lower tiers, people drive in a straight line. I did send them a little bit farther back than just straight on the line, because tendency to slow down. And I probably should have shot here a little bit earlier to stop the cap. That was my game plan there, but I was too late with that, sending out the torps. But anyway, there is the V70. Again, you can see I've been using my guns basically the whole time. As we get a high caliber in a destroyer at tier 3, that is pretty cool. And that, because we hit him when we did, he floods out. So our first torpedo that hit him, the torps, he had to use his damage con up. And then the second set was almost perfect timing, where he didn't have a damage torp at all, or a damage con available, so he just flooded out with our next one. So again, here we don't necessarily want to get a gunfight with a cruiser, so we're going to kind of cool it for the moment. We're going to turn out, and we are going to focus on this V170 here. And like I said, we don't want to be in a battle with it. Now I'm going to send torps out, not on the line, and the reason I'm not is I'm thinking at some point he's probably going to want to slow down and not charge our battleship, and we're going to try to kill him before that does happen. As you see, he does start to slow down here, and placing torps, guys, when you're a torp boat, not just on the white line, but knowing when to put them in a different position. You see, we do hit them with our torp, and you can see placing torps where you're guessing where people are going to be is much better than just sending them out on the white line. Now, the white line will help a lot, but that's not the only way to do it, obviously. At low tiers, it does help a lot. And we are going to go ahead, and I'm trying to get back to the cap to get the A cap here. So a lot of times as a destroyer, you want to spend your time spotting or gaining control of the cap. But at tier 3, not a lot of that's going to happen. You're going to see chaos where everybody just gets into a war right on the cap, like what happened in this one. And you have to take advantage of that to the best of your abilities and kind of go with it. And that's why this was a good showcase for this ship, because we did a lot of torpedo damage. We did a lot of smoke damage. As you can see, I load up AP. When a cruiser's broadside and you're close enough, load AP up. Even in a Japanese destroyer. As we go ahead and shoot, but our kill gets stolen, or not stolen, but somebody else gets it, and I burned up my smoke. I didn't think he was going to die that quickly, and there is a Clemson there, so we're going to try to take a cheeky little shot over the mountain, because, you know, these shells lob quite a bit. Right now, there's not a whole lot of point to gaining the cap now. Everybody on their team has died. But you want to really try to get caps if they're free and open in destroyers, particularly Japanese torpedo boats. And you can back a lot of people off. As you see, the Truen is coming in. We're going to throw some torps out. Now, this time, you think he's going to head straight at us, so the line is pretty good here. I'm just going to put a set on each side of it in case he decides to turn. And we are, because the cap here, I could have just held my guns in and got the cap and got some free XP, which wouldn't be a terrible play, but I like shooting, so we're going to shoot. We get 4 full pens there. So you can see we're actually doing a little bit of damage, and you can see he goes broadside, and I switch to AP. And I know you guys are laughing, but you're going to see right here, we're going to take our next shot here, and check this out. We're going to get, oh, we're going to miss, because it's a Japanese, but here we go. Now we're going to shoot, and you're going to see we get 2 Citadels. That's why you use AP on broadside cruisers. Even destroyers can Citadel them. Even Japanese destroyers can Citadel them. And with him being the last person left, we didn't have to worry about getting shot back yet. But 1900 base XP with a high caliber and a destroyer with 70,000 damage is a very good game. That is about as solid as it comes. And I used the guns. We got 2 Citadels and a Japanese destroyer. Tier 3, and that's a solid game. Anyway, hopefully this helped you guys out. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, folks.